Hey guys, JR Cook here. Today I'm making a video about how to be more confident in your day-to-day activities and just life in general. This could be anywhere from business to your personal relationships to getting a new boyfriend or girlfriend or public speaking, anything that you feel that you need to be more confident in your life with, right? Or just walking around and feeling comfortable in your skin. But first, I want to ask you a question. And that question is, what is it that you want? Like why exactly are you wanting to feel more confident? What is it that you think that feeling more confident is really going to achieve for you? Because that's what you want to focus on, and that's going to be your driver to follow through with these steps and recommendations that I'm going forward with. And I think that the main thing that takes a lot of people away from their confident self, because confidence really is natural. Confidence, to a large degree, it comes from competence, right? So if you're feeling confident, that means that you're feeling like you're going to be able to succeed or achieve what it is that you're, whatever situation it is for you. Say I'm going to go give a big speech in front of a bunch of people. I'm going to approach that person that I'm attracted to. And if you have a large degree of confidence that you can achieve this goal, then you're going to feel more confident. Like that's how it is. And so the first thing that I'm going to talk about then is, it leads right into it, is setting goals. Everything that you want is on the other side of your fear. Everything that you want is on the other side of enough difficult conversations for usually. If you're willing to deal with people and have those difficult conversations instead of putting them off and procrastinating, or doing those difficult, there may not even be difficult things, but you perceive them to be like psychologically hard for you to pull off. Building momentum and having uncomfortable conversations is really a must. And the more that you have, the more confident that you're going to feel. And the more that you improve yourself as well. Going back to that competency thread there, is if you can become more confident or competent in something, so maybe it's public speaking or something, like maybe you take a public speaking class, right? Or something that I would recommend, if it is public speaking that is the reason why you're here at this video, the first thing I would suggest is don't think about the audience. Don't think about them. Just think about preparation. Think about doing the absolute best that you can do to prepare for this speech or talk or whatever, and I mean, for me, what works for you. You might need to script the whole thing, but for me, it's a few bullet points and it's a little bit of research, right? So before I make a YouTube video, I'll think about, all right, what are the key points that I want to hit? I keep a little piece of paper right here, and that way I can look down and I can make sure that I've hit all the key points that I have sitting here waiting for me, and that way I can ensure that I deliver all the valuable pieces of information that I want to deliver to the audience. And I don't think about how many people are watching this video, because that would make me nervous. All right, and that's one of the main things I think that a lot of people miss, is you can actually, by focusing on your competencies, by focusing on what you're good at, you will feel a lot more confident. Like a lot of people feel what's the opposite of confident? Insecure, because they think about all the things that they're not really good at. They're like, well, or they compare themselves to someone else. Well, I'm not as good of a public speaker as Jim Rohn or, Tony Robbins or something like that. Someone might be thinking, and, you're not that person. All right. And if you compare yourself to the best in the world, you're not going to feel confident, period. And it will probably end up immobilizing you. Right. So if I were comparing myself to like the best motivational speaker in the world, or like, if I were comparing one of my talks to like Jordan Peterson or something like that, or someone else, or if I compared my writings to like, an ancient Greek philosophy or something like that, like I would feel like this isn't good enough, all right? But it's amazing when you actually just do your best and you put it out there, how many people actually respond favorably towards you. Like it's really amazing what people actually consume and enjoy that you can create. And so realize that you are good enough where you are, and you just get better and better with experience. All right, and so that applies to relationships. That applies or picking up the opposite sex or the same sex for some of you probably. It applies to writing books. It applies to giving speeches. It applies to conducting business transactions. It applies to making cold calls. It applies to, negotiating deals. Like if you're talking to a car dealership, and and you have good negotiation skills because you have high confidence, then you're going to get a better deal. Like you're going to be like, listen, what's the best deal you can give me? And he'll tell you a price, and you're like, can you do better than that? Like, I think I can get a better deal over here at this other place. And you say something like that, you have a far greater likelihood of saving money, which of course that money over the long haul adds up. Like every single thing that you're able to negotiate throughout a life, like it compounds, and and that changes your entire life, just having like that one negotiation skill. And so become better. Become better by having the uncomfortable conversations. Start small, set realistic goals. Like, say, if you completely stumble over your words trying to talk to someone and pick them up at a bar or whatever, I would say just set your first goal as being talk to a girl, right? I'm talking to the guys. Obviously, switch that, if it applies to you. But for the guys, like, just talk to a girl. Just be like, hey, how are you? And that's your only goal. If you get further than that, then great, right? But talk, all right? And then when you go home, celebrate that accomplishment and be like, yeah, I did it, and achieving small and attainable goals over and over again, and then you just go talk to another one, and you're like, you know what? I'm feeling confident with talking to girls. Now, that is a marked improvement from where you were before, all right? So, and once you feel confident with that, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to stretch a little bit further. Now I'm going to try and get a number, right? And then you set that next step in the goal kind of journey, right? And then you get a number, and then you celebrate that, and then you can get another number, you can get another number, or you can stick with the same one if this is someone that you really like, right? But if you set small and attainable goals, and you just keep progressing further and farther, it's like the same thing as working out at the gym, right? Like if you haven't worked out in a while, or you've never worked out in your life, like you're probably not going to be able to bench press, your body weight and do sets of it, right? But you can start small with attainable goals, and you're going to feel more and more confident as time goes on. And you're going to grow actually stronger and stronger and stronger, so that you're able to effectively, expand your capability there. You're going to be able to lift more and more and more, all right? And so that's like that with every single skill. And, and the more that you feel competent, the more that you are competent, the greater your self-confidence is, all right? And that kind of goes on to image, all right? So I think a lot of people try and be something that they're not. And I think that that's what makes people feel a little bit insecure. And that comes from, like, comparing yourself to people who you're not. Like, I think that it's really critical that we compare ourselves to ourself, right? Who was I yesterday, and am I better today? And if we do that enough times, then eventually we feel more and more confident. Now, hopefully we're improving ourselves every day. That's why it's really important and critical to improve our life, improve these different elements of ourself, so that we see progress going on in our life. And as we see daily progress in our life, then we feel more and more confident, because we're like, man, I'm so much better than I was before. It just makes you feel great, and it just gives you like a natural confidence, all right? And so make sure that you hit subscribe right now, like this video, leave me a comment. Let me know what you like the most, and let's continue. Now, I already talked about confronting your fears a little bit, and confronting your fear is critical if you are going to improve in any way. All right, and so what does that really mean? So, another way to look at it is pushing against resistance. All right, so you're pushing against resistance. Like, again, to go back to the gym analogy, without pushing against resistance, without creating pain in your muscles, and feeling some sense of failure in your muscles, then you're not going to get stronger. All right, and so there's just no way to get around feeling the fear. But if you can feel the fear and act anyway, that's where you get stronger. That's where the experience comes in, and that's where the improvement comes in. And really, a confident individual, if you see an extremely confident individual, that person has pushed past their fear already. Instead of letting their fear push them around, they push their fear out of the way, and they take action anyway. That's really what it takes, all right? And you have to be willing to fail before you can get good at something. That's just the way that it is. So if you really want to be more confident, go back to what I said about the goals, the small, gradually expanding goals. As your skill level improves at whatever task it is that you're talking about, public speaking, picking up members of the opposite sex, business, starting businesses, running businesses, managing businesses, writing a book, starting a blog, making a YouTube channel, whatever it is for you. As your skill improves, your self-confidence is going to naturally improve as well. And I don't care what it is that you want. It doesn't matter what it is that you want. You're going to need more self-confidence to reach a level of mastery, reach a level that people will respect and listen to what you have to say. And it takes that respect from others. It's like a feedback loop. So the more confident you are, the more people listen to you, and the more people that respect you, and the more people that respect you, it feeds your confidence, your self-confidence. As you see that and people compliment you, and you start to see your level of mastery rise to a level that other people are like recognizing and eventually celebrating, what's that going to do for your confidence? So the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I think will make just about anybody feel more confident. And it's going back to the image side of things, and that's exercise. I think everybody should be exercising every day, or near every day, at least a few times a week, because this isn't a video about health, but it's gonna make you feel physically better, right? It's gonna make you look physically better, and you're gonna know that you look physically better, and that's going to improve your self-confidence level. And the other thing is, dress in a way that you feel confident. Don't think so much about like what the latest fashion is or anything like that. No, like dress in a way that you look good. All right? And if you walk around and you're dressing in a way that you feel confident, you're like, man, I look good in this shirt. I look good in these pants. I look good in these shoes. And if it costs you even a little bit extra to do that, it's worth it, because that self-confidence that you have, you internalize that confidence. It helps you make decisions better, helps you talk to everyone better, helps you get, better employment, helps you get raises at your work if you're more confident. Your job, like a lot of people, they'll see a confident individual and they just automatically assume that person must be also competent, right? Like I've gotten a lot of jobs just because like somebody liked my attitude, they liked the way that I was confident, and they never even questioned my credentials. They're just like, oh wow, yeah, definitely you're hired. And I was cool, I'm fine with that. And I think that a lot of people, the last thing I'll mention one more thing I just thought of. A lot of people spend time focusing on their weaknesses, and they'll talk about their weaknesses with others. Like they'll talk about, well, I could never do that because I'm, keep that nonsense out of your head, and especially out of your mouth. Don't talk about that, especially with other people, because that changes their image of you, right? You're now this person that's just like, Now, be honest with what you're good at and what you're not. Like if you're talking to somebody about, self improvement or something, and you're like, yeah, I'm not so good with this skill, but I'm improving it. Like that's one thing. Like that's just being honest. All right. But when you're like, I could never do that, or I just don't have that skill, or I'm just not good enough. You know, that kind of self talk destroys your self confidence and it destroys your credibility with others. And just how I said that it's a feedback loop as people start to recognize your confidence and your competence, and they start to congratulate you and recognize you and see you as that image. Like everybody has an image of you. As your image continues to increase in stature in other people's minds, uh, that feedback loop comes back to you. You feel more confident. Well, the same thing happens if your image is decreasing in other people's minds. All right. So if other people look down on you, or other people don't hold you in high esteem, that's going to feed back to you too, and you're going to be like, oh man, and that's going to push your self confidence and self esteem down. So you don't want that to happen, and so make sure that you're not feeding that. So you talking negatively about yourself, and also don't talk negatively about others, but that's another subject. But you talking negatively about yourself with other people is going to make them look down on you. Even if it's like a close friend or something, it's going to be at a subconscious level for most of them. Some people might just think, "Ooh, this guy's a loser." They might be that bold in their own mind. But others might just like keep it stored in the back of their mind. They're just like, well, they're not going to think you're strong, that's for sure. All right, so that's the last thing I want to talk about. So if you like this video, hit thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you have any tips for me on how you find more confidence in your life. If there's anything that I missed, I want to know. The only thing that I know for sure in my life is that I'm wrong about something because I don't know everything. All right. But these are some of the tips that I know that I've applied in my life and that have helped me dramatically in all of the different areas. Every time I talk in front of a crowd, every time that I talk, in general, every time literally self-confidence is good for everything that you do. So hit like, hit subscribe. This has been JR Cook, and I'll see you next time.